Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So, application season is in full swing with deadlines for various universities across the globe approaching. Since you clicked on this video, you already probably know that one of the documents that you will need as part of your application package is called the Statement of Purpose, or the SOP. It's also known as the Statement of Intent or the Letter of Intent. So, in order to give you a better sense of what goes into an SOP, how you can approach this writing piece, and basically how you can make this document shine in your applications, in this video, we're going to be talking about just that. Before we can move on to the various parts of your SOP, I want you to have a basic understanding of the purpose of this document first. A statement of purpose is critical to your graduate school applications, which basically tells the admissions committee who you are, what your academic and professional interests are, and how you'll add value to the program you're applying to. That's right. You need to add value to their program as well, because the university is ultimately a business and they need to heavily scrutinize the kind of applications and students they are accepting each year to keep their standards the same or even raise higher, which most probably ends up happening. Having served myself in the admissions committee as a second year graduate program student, I cannot stress it enough how important this piece can be in your applications. It is not your GPA, not your transcripts, not your language or entrance test scores. It is going to be your SOP in most cases that can be the deciding factor in your admissions. Your statement of purpose is where you tell your story and why you deserve to be a part of the university's community. It gives the admissions committee a chance to get to know you and how you'll add value to their classroom. All right. Moving on to the different parts of the SOP. Your typical statement of purpose should consist of 4 parts, each differing in length. For your first draft, think of preparing a skeleton with these 4 parts in the chronological order that I will get into in this video. All right, so part 1 is where you introduce yourself and talk about your interests and motivation. This is purely an attention-grabbing hook. Tell them what you're interested in and what sparked your desire for graduate study. This part is supposed to be short and to the point, so please don't waste your time writing an autobiography. I personally recommend opening your essay with a quote. You don't need to be a fan of quotes like I am to use this strategy, because a quote serves as a great attention-grabbing hook that can make an impact with very little words. I personally would go for a quote that I truly believe in, something that resonates with me, and something that I can follow along by explaining why this means so much to me. Needless to say, this has to be something academic or career related or something motivational, and not something that's helping you get over your breakup. For length, I would say do not go over a paragraph for this part. Number 2, summarize your previous academic or professional career. So number 1, this could be some research that you conducted. Indicate with whom did you do so, what was the title of the project, what were your responsibilities, and what was the outcome of that project. You can totally use technical terms in this little part because professors are generally the people who read these essays. So using technical words relevant to your discipline is completely fine. Sometimes it's also students in the same program from some universities that also review these applications, because these universities want some student voices in application reviews. So go for technicality if you want. Next, this could be an important paper or a thesis project you completed, as well as anything scholarly that went beyond your curricular requirements. This could also be some work experience, especially if you held any kind of responsibility in testing, designing, researching, interning, or even leading in an area that is similar to the program that you're applying to. Please be careful not to type out your CV or resume in this section. One document is enough for that. In this section, you're trying to give more background info on those elements from your CV in terms of what led you to get that education or to do that thesis or to get that job, and what you gained out of all of those elements that is now helping you make that next step in your career. Remember, you're trying to tell your story to the admissions committee, and nobody wants to sit through and entertain a boring story. The style of writing matters a lot. So take them through your story one career step at a time. For length, I would say this will be the biggest part of your document. So it could go anywhere between 1 to 1.25 pages, depending on what's the word limit for the university that you're applying to. Moving on to part 3. In this one, you're going to be talking or discussing about the relevance of your recent or current activities. So, say for example, you're applying to graduate school, and before this, you graduated with an undergraduate degree, and you're now working in a job. So, in this section, you talk about what you're currently doing, what your job is, if it's nonprofit, for profit, where you're working, what your responsibilities are, talk about your work or your design team, and ultimately what you're currently learning. This section is important because it tells the admissions committee on what you're up to right now and how you're working currently towards your goals. Think of it in terms of relevance. Your current or most recent activities are always going to be way more relevant towards your near future goals. For example, if you're currently applying to a master's in health sciences, it will be way more relevant for the committee to know that you're currently interning with a hospital or you're finishing up your thesis to get that undergraduate degree and so on. You can also indicate here how this helped you, your passion or interest in applying for that undergraduate or graduate degree in whatever discipline you're applying to, be it public health, engineering, social sciences, and so on. For length, I would say this should not go over one paragraph again. Last but not the least, in part 4, you elaborate your academic interests. Here, you indicate what program you would like to study in enough detail to convince the committee that you understand the scope of research in their discipline and are in touch with the current research themes. So here is where you indicate all of your areas of interests. Ideally, you pose a question, you define a problem, or you can even indicate a theme that you would like to address or something that arises from contemporary research. For example, you're interested in nutrition related research. So here you talk about how, say, for example, the problem of childhood obesity has always been at the pinnacle of your research interest. Throw in 1 or 2 sentences about some nutrition related statistics about childhood obesity, and then you talk about what more you want to find out in this area. Number 2, look at the university's website for information about the departments that you're interested in, including the professors and their research. Are there any professors whose research interests align with yours? If so, indicate this. Check the specified program. Many may require you to indicate a professor or professors with whom you might want to work. Even if it's not required, I highly recommend name dropping a few professors, their research areas, and how it aligns with your interests, because this will let the university know that you've done your homework. And this is a great way to letting them know about your interest in the university. Lastly, end your essay in a positive manner, indicating your excitement and readiness to deal with the challenges ahead of you, and also how the faculty of the university that you're applying to is going to help you develop skills that are essential to making meaningful contributions in your field. That's it for today's video. I hope you have a good sense now of how to go about writing your admissions essay, aka your SOP. Moving on to the last and the most exciting part of the video, our quote for the day. So today we have, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." This quote basically means whether you think you can or cannot do a particular job, your results will reflect accordingly. You think you cannot write a good SOP because you don't have good writing skills or a good story, you're right. You won't end up with a good SOP. Whether you think you can't write a good SOP because you don't have good writing skills or whatever, you're right. You won't end up with a good SOP. Whether you think that you're not good at writing, but you will give it your 100% and you will do your due diligence in coming up with the best essay you've ever written, you're right. You will end up with your best work. So don't bog yourself down with all of these external factors about you not having the best story or the best career trajectory or even writing skills. You can still do a great job in your applications and you still have a very good chance in getting into that university that you're aiming for. All right, that is it for today. I hope you liked this video and found something valuable out of it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and do give this video a big thumbs up. I will see you in my next video, and thanks again for joining and giving me your time today. Bye-bye.